In this episode, we cover a step-by-step guide on how to properly apply textures to your VeVeVerse world. Now, ever since the verse launched, I've been seeing a lot of people struggling with the materials category. And I think it's one of those steps that some people don't realize how much work actually goes into it. It's more than grabbing just a brick texture and applying it to a wall. It's a multiple step process to apply texture to a single item. And so in today's episode, we're going to cover the steps from start to finish so that by the end, you'll have a clear understanding on how to properly texture your world. If you guys find the video helpful, please make sure to like and subscribe. Now, I've seen lots of comments of people who will log back into their world and certain elements will revert back to the default green or their default dimensions. The reason why is because these textures have not been applied as separate versions, meaning if you apply the same texture you've already used to a different element in your world, when you go to apply it to something else, everything it's already been applied to will reset. So in order to avoid this, you need to create multiple versions of that same texture in order to apply it to multiple objects. Now, when you open your material library, you're going to see an option to apply as copy. This is what's going to allow you to create multiple versions of a certain texture. Now, let me show you what happens if I don't have this turned on. If I go to apply a brick texture to two different sized objects, the dimensions are going to be different, as you guys can see on screen. Because I've used this same material on multiple objects and I have not applied it as a copy, what's going to happen now is when I go to change the dimensions for the second object, the first one is also going to change. If I now take that same texture and apply it to a third object, it's now going to reset the dimensions that I just changed on the first two. This will also be the reason why certain elements in your world will change color as you're building, because you may have used a paint texture that you never applied as a copy that later on you try using but with a different color. And when you go to select that color, it changes the item from before. So all you need to do in order to avoid this is check that box on, apply as copy, and you're creating a different version of that same texture that you can now apply to multiple objects without influencing the things you've already applied it to. So by applying this to paint, I can now color both these cubes different colors using the same material. Now, going back to our example using brick, you can use this same technique to affect dimensions. So now the object on the left has its own texture and the object on the right has its own texture, despite it being the same exact material. And so this brings me back to my point about why this step involves a little bit more work than most people think. And that's because you don't just apply the same brick texture to everything you want brick. You apply a brand new brick texture to everything that you want brick. So you're going through your entire map again to recolor it, if you want to do it in a professional way. Each item you place down is going to be a different size, and so the dimensions for each texture you apply are going to vary. It's your job as the map builder to now go through and make sure all the dimensions add up so that the bricks on a shorter wall line up with the taller wall it connects to. Now, here's a quick tip for when you're building. Textures only go one way. You cannot rotate the design of a texture. So if you want your bricks to be horizontal versus vertical, then you have to make sure your wall is placed down in the default position. If you rotate the wall so that the green side is facing up, then the bricks are going to be vertical. So just keep that in mind, because as you're going through your map and texturing certain items, you may find that wood planks might go vertical here and then horizontal there. And if you want them all to be in the same direction, you're going to have to rotate certain pieces. Now, I'm not entirely sure how long today's episode is, but I'm hoping that it solves any issues that people are still having with this topic. And if you guys have found it helpful, please make sure to share it with the community. VeVe's first tutorial on this is kind of a little hard to follow now because updates that they've made to the platform. And so in their tutorial, there's 2 tabs in the library, whereas now there's only 1. So if you guys did find the video helpful, please make sure to like and share. Ladies and gents, that is going to conclude today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. As for our next one, I'm excited to share it with you guys. I'm going to try and show you guys how to use the VeVeVerse in a way we've never seen before. So if you're interested in exactly what that is, make sure to tune in on Thursday. But if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe, comment down below what you want to see in a future episode. And as for our next, I'll catch you then.